Hiveaura Collective, hello. I hope that you are doing well. Welcome to your weekly guidance for the collective. This is a message for us as a whole. Before I get started, I'm going to light my white candle. Flame for me helps absorb the energy, and a white candle symbolizes spiritual purity. And so what this does is allow me Oh no, we went out. Had a double strike. What this does is allow it to absorb any of the unwanted energy that might enter its space with me during this reading. I also use a candle from time to time to do what's called fire scrying. So this is a psychic technique where you stare into the flame for a long period of time and you sort of see if there are any images or symbols or things that present themselves to you. I do this sometimes in my reading prior to for certain clients, but anyway, our candle is lit, so that is wonderful. I hope that you're having a wonderful week. I hope that the long weekend did you well. I hope that you feel good. I hope you feel grounded. I hope you feel centered. Normally I talk about a channeled message where I like to relay things that come through and sit on my heart. I don't necessarily have anything specific this week, and that happens from time to time. Sometimes channeled messages don't always come through because it's not really I'm not in control of it, so sometimes things come through and sometimes they do not. Something that I have been thinking about though, from a personal standpoint, and so maybe this will help you as well, is the idea that no one can make you feel small other than yourself. And sometimes when it looks like we are being left out or not communicated with, maybe it's something we have to look inward at and see if we're blocking ourselves from receiving that communication. So as we move into this reading, I hope that you sit and think about that, if that resonates with you. I also posted in the collective group last night about a message that I had received because I'm clairaudient, and I just want to update that I did have somebody reach out and say, I think that message was for me. Actually, I had a few people. It's going to resonate with you, with each individual very differently, but it just made me feel so good to know that I helped somebody connect and feel seen and feel heard, and that they got the guidance that they needed. So if you saw that little story in the group and it resonated with you, then it was a message for you as well. So I just wanted to start with that. As always, I am Emily McKinney Cody. You can find me on Instagram at Connecting with Cody. I do have a Facebook page, though I forget about it frequently, and it is of the same name, Connecting with Cody. I also have my personal page, Emily McKinney Cody, which is where a majority of my content was started, and I still do post in conjunction with Connecting with Cody, so please feel free to follow that as well from a personal perspective if that's something you're interested in. I'm a certified angel guide through Hay House and Kyo Gray, so I work with angels for the most part, ancestors, and our spiritual guides. I also identify as a clairaudient and clairvoyant mystic. I hear and see visuals when I am connected in meditation that I give to my clients or my sitters as validation from their teams of light, their guides, their passed on loved ones, to validate the path that they currently find themselves on. So if that's something you're interested in, please feel free to reach out as well. So, not a big in-depth one today. Sometimes there's just not a message, and we have to resonate and sit with what calls to our soul the most. So this is just going to be a very general reading. It won't be attached to a channeled message this week. I hope that it still resonates with you. I hope you still gain something from it. I hope you still learn something from it. If you do, please let me know in the comments below what you've taken away from this reading, how it made you feel, how it guided you this week. It's always lovely for me to see those things to make sure that my craft is doing the highest good for all. So before we get started, I always like to ground ourselves, to sit and be fully present. So I'm going to invite you to go ahead and close down your eyes, palms up, feet on the ground. I'm going to invite you to take a big deep breath in. We will do 3 of these. Big deep breath in. Hold at the top and release. Again, we're going to take a big inhale in. Hold at the top and release. One last time, a big deep breath in, inhaling all of the things that we want to receive. Holding at the top and exhaling all of the things that no longer serve us. I'm going to invite you to stay here for a moment. Feel centered, feel grounded, lean into that heart-centered space. And we're going to begin by saying, guardians of the 4 corners, Father in the sky, Mother in the earth, angels, ancestors, sacred ones, I welcome you here now. I trust that the messages that are received are meant for the highest good of all involved, and that the lessons learned support those of us on our path and validate the experiences that we have. As above, so below, so within, so without, so be it, and so it is. You can go ahead and open your eyes if you haven't already, and we will get started. I am using Kyle Gray's Angels and Ancestors deck. It is the deck that I am most connected with and that I get the most intuitive hits from. If you're gonna, we got a jumper, so that guy stays out. If you are going to card read, I encourage you to find a deck that speaks to your soul, that makes you feel connected, that gives you the information that you need to know. Okay, so I'm going to leave that one out. I'm still going to pull 3 cards. We're going to use that card as a support card this week as opposed to a main card from the deck. I'm going to rub my hands together to create some friction and some energy. There's some schools of thought on this. Some people don't love it. I prefer it because it tells me what I need to know. It guides me. My energy guides me to the cards that the collective needs to hear. And so the cards that are the warmest are the ones that I will pull. Last week I told you that if this isn't your jam and you don't like doing it this way, you can absolutely center yourself, close your eyes, and then open them very quickly and pull the first one that you see, or you can just shuffle them however you feel most comfortable and split the deck and pull them that way. There really is no right or wrong way to do it. It's what works best for your practice, what feels right for you. That one feels good. Okay, so there I have pulled our 3 cards, plus we'll have our support card. I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Okay, so my 3 card spread, I'm going to use the card that jumped out as, I'm going to use it as the higher self card actually. So we'll work it into this message. First card is always current energy in my spread. Then I move on to the second card, which is a message from our guides or our teams of light. The third card will be the jumper card, and that's the message from our higher self, what we need to know. And then the fourth and final card is going to be our next directions, what's to come. As always, you are the architect of your life. You are always in charge. You are always in control. These cards and these messages are centered in love and light. They're about offering you guidance and validation. It's not about being predictive. It's not about telling you what exactly is going to come and how it's going to show up. It's not predictive. It is about supporting you where you are. So with that, we will get into it. Your current energy for this week, Star Ancestor, follow the voice of your soul. This is a really important card for our current energy. this week as we move through the collective energy. I actually felt this very much today myself as well, so I definitely needed to hear this message. It can be very, very easy to get bogged down in the day-to-day of things and lose the spark and the fire and the excitement that we have within ourselves. And we often lose our compass, our soul compass that's leading us in the direction of the things that are going to support us the most. And so your current energy this week is reminding you that it's super, super important to dig deep and listen to your soul voice. Try and remember, like think about it as a remembering. That's your job this week. It's a remembering of who you are and what you want to be and where you want to go and what really matters to you and what's really important. And when you sit with yourself and you reflect on that, you'll find it. It's just about engaging with yourself and asking those hard questions. Sometimes we forget why we're doing what we're doing. And now is as good a time as any to get started. So that is Star Ancestor. Follow the voice of your soul. Let your soul voice direct you and lead you through this week and through the energy that you find yourself in. Okay, card number 2 is a message from your teams of light, your guides, your ancestors, your guardian angels. I prefer guardian angels because I work with angels. And if we're going to go back and look at angels for 1 second in our current energy, this is blue snappy stars. The angel that I associate with that blue snappy star colors, which is how it shows up in my screen when I do a session. When it shows up, it's like sparks of blue. That is Archangel Orion, who's the Archangel of Manifestation. So it's also a very good time to lean into that. So don't be afraid to manifest. Okay, teams of light, angels, guardian angels, whatever it is that you believe in. Shapeshifter, transform and unveil your gifts. I say this a lot. You are not required to be the version of yourself that you were yesterday or 6 months ago or a year ago or 10 years ago. Whatever it is, you are always constantly allowed to change. That is a very important thing for your growth. As you move forward, the more you change and the more you shapeshift to fit the version of yourself that you want to be, that gives you the opportunity to unveil your gifts and your talents to the world around you, to the people that you might have shied away from. So don't be afraid to do that, to have that transformation. It's sort of a fake it till you make it kind of feel, but with a knowing that you're not faking it at all. You're just transforming into the version of yourself that you've always wanted and needed to be. And that's going to support you, and it's going to support your soul voice as well, because sometimes we have ideas, we have these thoughts, and we're like, I can do that, I can do that, I can do it. I can show up and I can be amazing at all of these things, and you absolutely can. But sometimes we fall into that imposter syndrome and we feel like we think about it and we want to do it, and then we go, I don't know what I'm doing. I've had that too. I'm sure many of you have. And so just be aware that you have everything that you need to become the person that you're trying to become. And you don't have to be afraid of shape shifting to meet that, to match that vibration. So don't be afraid to do that. And there's a lot going on here. There's also, so the wolf is a leader. It's the alpha. It's taking charge and supporting others while you're there. There's also a small outline of a shadow outline of a snake that represents shedding your old skin and having growth. And then of course we have the hawk, which is the hunter, chasing down your dreams, going for the things that you want. So just know that you're always allowed to change and you're always allowed to shapeshift. I've shapeshifted many times in my life, and every single time I had that imposter syndrome thought, and then I started to do the thing and I'm like, no, this is who I'm meant to be. It's that soul voice piece again. So don't be afraid to do that. Okay, I'm going to move on to our third card, which is actually the card that jumped out of the deck. So we're going to treat this like a message from our higher self. In my world, in what I do, this is how I view the higher self. However you practice, it might look different for you. That's fine. you can apply the meaning to however you apply your higher self. That's absolutely okay. So sorry, I'm very dry and I don't have my water in here with me. So for me, the version of our higher self that this represents is the version of us that sort of sees our entire life path, and we're always rising to meet our higher self, but our higher self is also helping direct us when we make changes and need to take different actions, right? Like, it's like a mandala flower, right? There are a million different paths and lines that we can take. Each action dictates the direction or the reaction, and our higher self helps us navigate that. So that's what this card represents. High Priest, intend and create. You've got magic within you. You have a song in your heart. You have your soul voice. You know what you need. You have the need. And I just want to point out too, here we have the hawk, and we do have it here as well. You know what you need to do. So now it comes down to being very intentional and creating the life or the thing or the group or the job or whatever. You have to just be very intentional with your actions and really work at creating and becoming and doing all of the things that you want to do. I use terms very generally in these readings because this is collective, right? I don't know each and every single one of you. I don't know what your dreams, goals, and desires are. But this is a representation of showing up for yourself. And again, if you look at the hair or you look at the head of the High Priest, you can see that at the top it does have a cobra. Again, that's symbolizing of a snake being willing to grow continuously by shedding old versions of ourselves and being very intentional with who we're trying to become. So our higher self is giving us the opportunity to grow into that person, but reminding you that you have a lot of power within yourself. It's about meeting the vibration. It's about raising the vibration. It's about holding the frequency when you do it, and then being intentional with your actions to create the life, the dream, the goal, the thing that you want to receive. So that's that. Okay, fourth and final card. This is next directions, what's to come, things to think about. Love this one for us. I pulled this card in a reading for someone else just last week. See beyond the current situation. Typically when you pull this card as an individual, it is an acknowledgement of your ability to see. Seers typically run through lineages, and they're the ones that were considered to have all of the knowledge, and they would be the person that you would seek out in your tribe, in your group, in your collective, whatever, to ask for the guidance or the direction or the understanding. So it's very fitting actually that this is popping up in our next directions, what's to come situation. We often it's very easy for us to be very focused in on the now, which is wonderful. It's great that we can stay and be present in the moment, but sometimes we're required to zoom out and to look beyond what's happening directly in front of us. It can be very easy to get caught up with where we are and not see the long term or the long game for where we're trying to go. So as much as it's important that we stay centered and present in the now, we do also have to discern from time to time what comes next, how it's going to look. And it's not about predicting how things are going to look. It's not about trying to control how things work out, because we don't ever have control of that, right? Like, we can't force things to happen. We can manifest and we can raise our frequency and we can be in the vibe and we can be in the vibration and we can hold that good positive energy and have things work out for you. But that's different than controlling the outcome, right? You can't always control the outcome. That's like, this is the thing that I like to say is you're only ever responsible for the why, you're not responsible for the how. And so sometimes things come to us and it doesn't look quite the way we thought it would. But this card is challenging you to look beyond it as you move through the next few weeks, this phase of energy, and decide how you want it to look, how you want it to feel, how you want it to show up, and hold those vibrations. So do a little bit of work, stepping back, zooming out, looking from above, and then holding those new vibrations. So what's to come, next directions, see beyond your current situation. I really love that card for us. I really love this whole reading because I think at the core of it, it is reminding you and letting you know that you are fully capable. You just have to do a little bit of reconnecting with your soul and with yourself, and identify what serves you and what doesn't, and how you can transform yourself and your life as you move through this phase to support who you want to become. Don't be afraid to shapeshift. If you're being afraid to change, to grow, and to lean in because you're afraid of who will or will not come with you, then you're living for other people. You're not living for yourself. So I encourage you to drop those fears if you are able, and do the damn thing. So once again, I am connecting with Cody. I hope that this reading resonated with you. If you got something from it, please let me know what resonated with you, what cards resonated with you. I'm going to do a little bit of shameless promotion and say that I am offering $40 PDF card readings where I pull 4 cards for you and I channel a message for each card. And there are a limited number of spots available for those. So if you are interested, please reach out. You can DM me on Instagram or via Facebook. However feels right for you. I would love to have a chat and I can explain more of that for you. You can follow us at Hiveaura Inc. on most social media channels, and you can find me again at Connecting with Cody. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. I hope that this message resonated with you and you took something away from it.